Hey everyone, welcome back. I wanted to talk about a cool research article that was published last month in November 2024. But first, like and subscribe helps me out, and if you don't, I'll find out where you live and release swarms of large flying cockroaches into your kitchen. But anyway, so this paper is about Brunneria borealis, which for those of you who are not familiar with these are grass mantids. So these are really long, thin praying mantises that live generally in very tall grass and hunt in very tall grass. They tend to be very thin. They're almost stick insect-like. This image is off of Entomology Today. If you're not familiar with this website, it's kind of the insect news website put out by the Entomological Society of America, and they have lots of cool stuff on there. I'll link it in the description. But this is a very common mantis in the southern United States. And so this article is from, or this research article is from Washington and Lee University in Virginia by Paul Cabe and et al., basically. And they were looking at these because this is the only praying mantis of the family Coptopterigids in the United States. And generally, the Coptopterigids are found in Central and South America primarily. And then you have this one weird grass mantis that occurs in the southern US. So the question was, is this a species that originated in North America, or was it an introduction from South America that is kind of a more invasive kind of recent introduction? Because I think they said the first record goes back to like the 1950s. So they weren't entirely sure. But what is interesting about this Brunneria, and maybe it's a sister species in South America, which is here, Brunneria subaptera, and I will link this article in the description. Right now, ESA has it for free, so any of you can read this, and it's a very short read. And if you like mantises, this is a pretty neat article. And you can kind of see here how much it looks like a stick insect, although it does have these raptorial forelegs. Brunneria subaptera has a couple things in common with Brunneria borealis. So the American Brunneria, this Brunneria borealis, is the only known mantis which undergoes parthenogenesis. That it is confirmed it is parthenogenetic, which means that it doesn't require males to reproduce. The entire population in North America is female. So they basically just lay their own eggs. There are two different ways, or they lay their own fertilized eggs. So either insects can be self-fertilizing, or they can just not undergo meiosis, and they just lay basically mitosis double chromosome eggs, and it's not an issue. But all of their offspring are female. So they looked at this other species, Brunneria subaptera, which is found in Uruguay and Argentina and probably other parts of South America. And they did a genetic study on them because morphologically, these two species are very, very similar looking. And one of the issues with these species is there's a lot of variation in how they look. You can't trust color. You can't trust a lot of morphological measurements because interspecies, there's a ton of variation with both of these species, both the North American and South American species. So they did genetic analysis on these critters, and they found that they are very likely to be the same species. So this is kind of the cladogram for the haplotypes that were found. This down here, this bottom one is Brunneria borealis, and all of these are the South American Brunneria subaptera. And as you can see, they're in this grouping down here, they are indistinguishable with the test that they did. So there's 4 different groups, and the US group and the Uruguay group are indistinguishable. So it's very likely that these are actually the same species of mantis. And Brunneria subaptera also appears to be able to do this parthenogenetic reproduction, but it's not confirmed that they are solely parthenogenetic reproducers. So the thought that these researchers had is that it's very likely that these mantises were accidentally introduced at some point to North America, and they've basically spread to their maximum range in the southern United States. And we don't know how recently or how long ago this happened. It's possible that maybe these were introduced via shipping at some point in the past, which does happen with mantises. Mantises are invasive. You get an ootheca, one of these egg cases, laid on a ship or on a container of some sort. And because this species and the Subaptera as well, if it's a different species, are parthenogenetic reproducers, that one egg case will produce all females, and all of those females will be able to lay self-fertilized eggs, and you invade a new country very, very easily. So we don't know if this happened recently or if this was something that happened in like the very distant past, maybe with something like a hurricane or some sort of weather event that transported this from the perimeters of South America to the perimeters of North America. We just don't know, and it's possible that you'll never find out. But this Brunneria borealis is known to invade other countries, so it's entirely possible that although we consider it a native in North America, that it's actually just an invasive that's been here longer than we've had documentation since like the 1950s. But it's really, really cool. Mantises are neat, and I will link both the ESA article and the ESA news site if you want to look into it. Both Brunneria, Subaptera, and Borealis technically have these Wikipedia entries, but they're very short and fairly useless, especially for Brunneria, Subaptera. If you want to read more about these, you're going to have to start digging through the literature. You can always go on Google Scholar if you don't pay for like ESA membership or anything like that. But I'll talk to you guys later.